OpenAI, the latest to oppose a new California bill that would add safety precautions to increasingly powerful models.
Tech companies, they say they want regulation, but they don't want actual enforcement. So the California AI bill that I'm currently talking about, that aims to ensure systems are developed safely and do things like make sure there's a kill switch that would turn off models if they go rogue.
OpenAI reverses course is now pushing California to toughen its AI safety law days after acknowledging one of its own AI models broke out of a test environment and hacked another AI company called Hugging Face. OpenAI published a public call for California to strengthen SB 53, the frontier AI safety law it opposed before it passed. Strange. Today's question: is OpenAI asking to be regulated harder because it's scared or because it wants to lock out smaller competitors? So a year ago, this would have sounded impossible. OpenAI is now asking California to make AI safety laws stronger, not weaker. OpenAI isn't some outside watchdog group. It's one of the companies actually building the technology. These rules are supposed to regulate OpenAI. So what changed? Well, give you a little bit of background. Back in 2024, California had a much more aggressive AI safety bill. It was called SB 1047. It became one of the biggest fights in Silicon Valley that year. OpenAI opposed it, arguing AI regulation was better handled at the federal level. Governor Newsom ultimately vetoed the bill. Fast forward to now, California has a different law, SB 53. That took effect this year. And this time, OpenAI isn't saying, don't regulate us. It's asking California to add more safeguards to a law it once fought. So SB 53 focuses on the most powerful frontier AI systems. It requires companies to be more transparent about their safety practices and to disclose risk mitigation testing. OpenAI's specific ask this week is to require monitoring of frontier models while they're still being trained or evaluated. Watching for conduct that could bypass the third-party security controls and compromise their confidential information. That's a precise description of what happened when the AI model broke out of a sandbox test back in July, and we actually did an episode on that, and hacked into Hugging Face's real systems. And Hugging Face is an AI company. So, in plain language, I always try to give you some tech behind the headline. So let's think about a calculator to understand what we're talking about this episode. Calculator, if you put some numbers in, it gives you the wrong answer. There's no real harm. But now think about an AI system that doesn't just answer questions. It can write code, it can run that code, it can interact with the internet, find security holes on its own. The risk isn't that it gives you the wrong answer anymore. The risk is that it can act on one. Calculators can't act. The risk is AI can act on one. OpenAI just showed you exactly how real that is. This month, it disclosed that an unreleased model internally called Astra might meet what the company calls its critical cybersecurity threshold. And essentially what this means, it can hack anything on its own without human intervention, meaning it's capable of finding and building real-world exploits against real-world systems and carrying out the attack without a human involved. Astra was not involved in the Hugging Face breach, but OpenAI flagged this risk anyway and paused its own development. It's the first time I can recall where a technology company seems to be acknowledging that developing technology and moving too fast without proper safeguards is not the right way to go, not responsible. But this is what I want you to do before you start championing OpenAI. This is the company that is leading this AI revolution. What matters in terms of safeguards is who writes the rules, right? When a company being regulated is asking for stronger regulation, that's not necessarily bad. I don't want to be skeptical, but it's not automatically good either. Regulation can protect people. It can also determine who's allowed to compete. A smaller AI company without OpenAI's legal team and resources and safety infrastructure might not survive these exact rules OpenAI is now asking for. Having OpenAI help write the rules of the regulations to regulate OpenAI is just not a good idea. There's a tougher question. OpenAI was saying how having one rule at a federal level would be much better than having a patchwork of 50 different laws in 50 different states. There is some validity to that argument. But the harder question is simple. Who writes the rules when the company being regulated is helping write them? It's an obvious conflict of interest. And you don't need to read California's SB 53 to understand why this matters. You need to understand what happens as AI stops being something that just answers questions and starts being something that can act on its own without human involvement. Who's accountable? Who controls what it has access to? These are questions that don't wait for Congress or state legislator to catch up. The technology isn't going to slow down long enough for these rules to catch up on their own. The only real question is whether the safeguards get built before or after we need them. And this is exactly why I keep coming back to a simple idea, yours. And yours.ai technology should work for you, not the other way around. You shouldn't have to be a cybersecurity expert to understand what the AI around you is actually capable of. Yours AI runs locally on the device, and most importantly, with Yours AI, you have a group of passionate experts. They want to teach you how to stay safe online and make sure you understand the risk and how to mitigate those risks of the AI that you're interacting with every day. Thank you for watching AI and Cyber Unfiltered. I'm Frank Satterwhite. Until next time, take care of yourself.